Welcome to the world of Q&A, sir. Last Q&A, sir, of 2022, which is where we are now, apparently. Which means we can have open topics covering all kinds of things. We can reflect on the year gone by, and we can look forward to next year. In terms of gaming and in terms of what I'm doing with my various channels and things like that. But before we do, a word from our sponsor. Yeah. Our sponsor's Game On Daily, as always, as it has been for the whole year up to this point. I've changed my buttons. Is this going to work? Yeah, it is. So, no, it's not. It's the wrong screen. You can see my spare emergency screen right now. But we're still sponsored by Game On Daily, despite this minor technical hiccup that is very minor compared to the issues we had last year, right? Maybe I'll just use that screen today. Oh, now I've confused myself. I've lost my OBS chat. So I'm going to switch things around on my screens, and I'm going to show you a word from our sponsors. It's Game On Daily. It's like our website. It's our platform. It does things. You can get content from all kinds of creators. You can find exciting community comments like this one from me that says "woo" because Sakaguchi is making a new RPG. That's exciting, right? Creator of the best of the Final Fantasy games is making a new game. I know that thanks to our sponsor Game On Daily. Take a look at that when you get a chance. Yeah, let's crack on and get into what's been happening. So even though we've got the entire years to talk about, we're always going to start off with what games we're playing right now. So if you are here in chat, yes, Painful Discourse, the background is the easy bit. The OST is fairly tricky this week, kind of. I think we'll get it through discussion as it plays out, but God, Emperor Sofa King, welcome, Painful Discourse, welcome. Thank you, regular people that keep on coming back. It's so nice. Let you open your ears only, Isla. You can open your ears, and not your Google tabs or Shazams or whatever kind of finicky cheating you've got planned. Yes, open your gears, but not your cheating. Yeah, no, the pain. I lost a subscriber already today, and now I'm going to lose another one. So, I've actually not been playing that much this week. Not that much since last week. So, you'd best feed me what you've been playing. You can barely hear the OST. It's a tricky thing to balance because if you've got headphones in, you'll hear it a lot louder. I'm going to crank it up a bit for your sake, and we'll see how it goes. Just a little bit. A little bit up there. And it will get louder, and you'll recognize it as we go. It sounds Sonic-y. That's interesting. Yeah, so I've been playing since last week. I've barely touched anything. Barely touched my food or my games. I'm really trying very hard to get through God of War, which I know I've said for the last 4 weeks or so, but I've put a good number of hours into it this week. And it's an odd one because I like the moment-to-moment combat gameplay when it gets going. So the it has a nice combat system. You've got your Souls games are slow and methodical, and you've got your like Devil May Cry hack and slash, and God of War treads a really nice line between the two. And I have a good time. Oh, go away, beloved website. Go away, sponsor. You're hiding my background that I put so much effort into. This background, by the way, this High on Life background is the reason that we were late, because it runs in the background for quite a long time, so it took a fair while to render out, and I did it wrong, so I had to do it again. There we go though, it's on the way. So God of War has really good combat, and it has a really good story, and really high production values, and really beautiful places to explore. But while I'm playing it, it's frustrating as hell sometimes when you want to push forwards and you want to see what happens next, and it's like, oh, you could go and do these side quests, and some of them aren't bad. Some of the side quests are pretty good, and some of them are checklisty boring, but they're there, and it upsets me. And I think that might be a me problem. So this can be first question for people that are here, and I know some people won't be here yet. I started late, I didn't tell anyone I was doing a show and all the rest of it, so it'll be a slow start, but that's all right. The people here, you're the precious ones, right? And the people watching after the fact, I appreciate you too. You're all so precious. Oh no, digging myself a hole. Everybody's awesome. Open world games with side quests. Painful discourse, I'll get to that in a second. So when you're playing a game, see, I've been brought up, I'm very old now, and I've been brought up in an era of like Final Fantasy VII and RPGs like that, where you're trained by games to explore the side paths. They had a fairly simplistic structure, and technology was limited in those days. They could only take you so far in different directions, so most games had a fairly clear path through, and if there was any branching areas or things to do, then you just did them. Gaming kind of raised people to be completionists, and you would try not to beeline through the path and to take every other avenue. And that's done me harm now, because now I'm at a point where I look at a game and it presents more avenues than they used to, and a lot of them are shite. And I don't know whether this is a me problem, because I know a lot of people out there are completionists and they very deliberately go out and finish every little thing on a checklist because they want their platinum trophy or 1,000 achievement points, whatever it may be. For me, I'm like fighting an internal battle with myself on whether I want to be completionist and go and do all of these side things, or whether I can like turn my nose up and just do the good bits. And on God of War, I'm finding it's a draw. Like my two selves fighting each other are at a stalemate, kind of, because I'm doing a lot of exploring that I wouldn't like. If there is a path or a quest, an objective in front of me, I can't ignore it. I can't look at a shitty treasure chest knowing full well that it's only going to have bloody like hack silver in. Everything in God of War, just chests full of the currency that you don't even use. And I see a chest, but I've seen it, so I have to go and get it. I can't force myself away from it, but I can force myself away from an objective that I've just seen on the map screen. So if you bring up the map and it's got a big list down the left of whether you've like done this, that or the other in the area, whether you've completed the district, and that's like my cut-off point. I'm capable of saying, well, I don't care, and moving on, so long as I don't see the thing. If I see a thing, I have to get it. But what about you? So Isla says you restarted Fire Emblem most of the way through because you accidentally missed a side quest that caused a character to die, and it was sad because you actually tried to do the side quest but you got mixed up. So I would play a Fire Emblem game or any other game, pretty much any game that lets you kill characters, and my objective isn't to kill my own characters. You might watch me play things like The Quarry and go, oh, he's just trying to get all of the characters killed. That's not how I actually play, but I do like to. I like a bit of chaos, and I like to see the consequences play out properly. So if a character does die, it's quite funny, carry on. It's not as simplistic as like, I want to see what happens when I kill all of these characters, but I mean, you saw when I'm playing The Quarry and a character is trying to like climb a tree, and I'll pass the first couple of quick time events because I want them to get a bit higher before they fall out the tree. This is Sonic, where you're going to have to be way more specific than that. Oh. I'm just going to carry on with that. So, to answer your question though, Painful Discourse, is it like a 10 or is it an 8.5 like the reasonable people say? That's hard. Like, it's one of these things where we come back to it time and time again in terms of it's not Sonic Frontiers. No, you didn't cheat, Isla. You haven't quite got the answer yet, but you've got very, very close. Which is a shame because it gets trickier as it goes along. So that's my disappointment. It's not your fault. I should have mixed it up and played more of the obscure stuff first. So, yeah. So objectively, like, it's got great combat. It looks stunning. Like the areas that you explore. It's got that quality that Elden Ring has, where everything has just like a sublime color palette. So it's not Team Sonic Racing, but if you keep going through the Sonic Racings, you will be there very soon. So it's got that, like, the artists, there's some stunning artists there. Just like every area, it's just, oh, this is a beautiful place to go and explore. So that's really good. The characters and the acting is all really good. The combat is really good. So if you're awarding it a review score based on what it contains and what it does well, it will score very highly. But the puzzles are shite. The puzzles are shite, and the pacing through the middle of the game, I don't know how people can ignore that it's bad. Like, most people that play it question the pacing. Score is all stuff together, yeah. I mean, if you're scoring a game based on like vibes and feeling, like really subjective, which is kind of as good as reviews can get. If you're being really subjective, I definitely wouldn't give it a 10, because through the like 26 hours play or whatever I've got into it so far, I've probably enjoyed, like really enjoyed, about 8 hours of it, and really like not enjoyed big chunks. It's like, it's difficult to say that I want a game to have less in it. It's difficult to say as a criticism, like, you've given me too much here, but the pacing just doesn't feel great for a lot of it. Yeah, so less than half Painful Discourse, less than half, but I've really enjoyed those 8 hours. Like, when it's good, it's really, really good. I can't imagine, like, I really struggle to remember if God of War 2018 was like this, because when you're talking about pacing and getting frustrated with the size of the game and things like that, there's a very real chance that if I were playing it in a different mood and mindset, I might feel very different about those things. So it's very hard to objectively criticize it for having too much. It's like the Lord of the Rings film trilogy when you watch the third one. If you have to rate the Lord of the Rings film trilogy, I adore that trilogy, but there's like an hour at the end that's shite. And do you hold that against the whole trilogy? I don't know. I know that's not the same proportion of shite to good, but I don't know. See, this is the audio now, if you can hear it. I was wanting these tracks to come on before it had been answered. Again, nobody's fault but my own. I should have started with this, because what you can hear right now is signature Golden Axe theme. It's not taken from Golden Axe, it's taken from this other game, but there are, throughout this, a few strong themed tracks that were intended to throw you off. So that's my big exciting game has just like, deflated. Never mind though. Never mind. If you'd named every Sonic game you remember the name of, you would not have been able to name this one. Nobody has named it yet, so the game is still live, and anyone that comes along late can still be thrown by it, right? You can struggle through small stuff and small annoyances, but if it's that much, from what you saw, they give you puzzles and then push you through them because pacing. Yes and no. So the core quest line, if you are doing ignore all the side stuff, it throws puzzles at you and tells you the answer pretty much as soon as you glance them. Right? The puzzles aren't difficult, but sometimes they tell you the answer before you've even recognized that you've reached a puzzle through the core story. But if you start doing the bits around the side, then they don't spoil it as much. The stuff that's optional, it's more inclined to at least be more subtle with the hints, if not give them at all and let you bugger off and figure it out for yourself. There haven't been any puzzles that have been like too much so far. It is annoying at times. To be fair, the puzzle spoilage and narration is at its most extreme for the opening like few hours of the game. That has been less of a problem since. But I understand the need for hints like that, because much as I don't like them either, I'd rather figure things out for myself, but there is nothing more frustrating than not figuring out something. So if you're playing a game like that where the whole point, well, not the whole point, but a major focus of it is that it wants to tell you a story, if there is a point in that game that will stop you, and this applies to combat scenarios as well, if there is a point that's like, I can't do this, then it's a weird situation to be telling a story and then stopping people getting through it. Why is it not an option that you can turn on? I mean, even High on Life lets you, reduce the hints. Q&A has definitely failed with this game. It's not, that's a harsh thing to say, because as current modern releases go, it's relatively bug-free. There are definitely a few bugs in it, but minor compared to like a typical game that gets released today. But Q&A did not work on things like difficulty spikes. T Forest, that's a new name around here. All good here though, hope you are as well. We're just talking God of War at the moment. Ducado's here as well. Good, we can start the game again. So Isla and Painful Discourse. Don't tell anyone what the background music is. At some point, can you try the Q&A feature and see how it works? Either you have complete control over the YouTube features. You can do that and see what it is. QA is not bugs, but more overall experience. Yeah, quality assurance, I mean... yeah, kind of. I think a lot of teams would combine those functions, but I get what you mean. And whether it be... like a lot of companies, like EA do public testing. They give people 50 quid or something to go and play their game early and give feedback on things like that. But I don't want to be negative on the game because it is superb mostly, despite what I said about the ratio of good bits to bad bits. So I really like it in general, but it is sometimes a struggle to push forwards. I'm going to get there though. But what about everyone here? So what is everybody playing? Because so far it's all me, it's all God of War. It's all VR and all the rest of it, which I haven't talked about that much, but we're going to be talking about games over the previous year and the current year, the year coming, whatever, you know where we are. We're at New Year's Eve-ish. Time's hard to keep track of. It's a Sony problem. They get so much praise and they don't correct stuff. So I had a chat, this is probably Go Live actually, when we had ACG on, and we were talking about certain issues with Sony games that are going to be hard for them to walk back now. So the one that we were just talking about with the companions that tell you the answers to puzzles and things, because God of War is like over the edge in how strong that is, it becomes very noticeable. And because in Horizon Forbidden West Aloy's doing it and she's not even talking to anyone, she's literally just spoiling puzzles for no reason and telling you where to go, despite having no like in-universe reason to be saying the things that she's saying. That's drawn a lot of attention to it. A lot of people have noticed now. Sony games have had companions that tell you where to go, that lead the way for a long time. And you used to get frustration when the AI was bad or something like that, but not so much... like people didn't object to the fact that this companion they were supposed to be escorting was in fact escorting them. And now it's going to be very apparent. So whatever Sony do next, they're going to need to come up with some new method to help players through the game. And I understand why they do it. It makes a lot of sense to help people through but make them feel good about it. And it's one of those things where when anything follows a formula like that, it can be a really successful formula, but as soon as a player or an audience for a film or something, as soon as you notice that you're following a formula now, it takes a lot out of it. This is the problem that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been trying to deal with, because their films followed such a tight pacing of like one-liner to action to story beat that people started to recognise they've seen them all before. So a film that might have been really good is suddenly less interesting because people recognise that it's by the numbers now. That's a problem that Sony are going to have to try and address. You're playing Halo currently. Kong Slayer is mad. Only throwing fusion coils. Why is it called Kong Slayer? I do like a fusion coil. I pretty much never kill anything with the fusion coil. Wayne's here as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. QA should still catch major bugs. You did QA on Secret World. I remember Secret World. So many bugs still needed to be reported. Ricardo, you come back to Diablo 3 console. Diablo 3 stands out to me still as the one and only, there might be a few other exceptions, but the one game that is by design better on console than it is on PC. Either you're going to reheat rice and die of silly bacteria. Good. You get the Kong Chivo when you kill with a coil, so that's why. Okay, I probably haven't even got that. I throw, so when Halo Infinite launched, with its like 3 maps or whatever, I'd always start off grabbing coils and throwing them. Probably killed myself more than I killed my opponents, but still good fun. Ducado, which class in Diablo 3? I played the Witch Doctor on the PC when it came out, up to like level 70 or whatever the cap was back then. But when it came out on console, I played every class except Witch Doctor all the way up. I played a lot of Diablo 3. And liked it a lot. It's a good game. I hope Diablo 4 is every bit as good, but we shall see. You're doing a Crusader for Season 27. A question for you, though, Decado, then, as you're a Diablo person. Do you also enjoy Diablo 2? It's on sale at the moment. I'm undecided on whether it's something I would like or not. Because Diablo 3 was the one that I got stuck into. I don't know. What have I missed? What have I missed? Let you know when I'm on my last topic or I want to answer personal questions. Oh, I'm on my last topic. Today's one of those like fast and loose ones where there are no topics. Personal questions depends how personal, I suppose. But yes. I say I'm on the last topic. We do have some things to talk about. We're going to talk about the year gone by, and I was just talking about amount of time spent playing Diablo. Which reminds me, so who has had those little updates that you get, or checked the little updates that you have to go and seek from each platform holder that tells you what you've been playing this year, what you've played the most for the year? Because I want to know what these wonderful corporations are telling you that you've been up to. What have you played the most? What have you loved the most? And are they the same thing, or are they different? I don't have many of my own. I got one today from Steam. So Valve have sent me one talking about my Steam activities, and I have 2 games tied for the lead on time spent. I'll leave it to you to guess. What are my 2 most played Steam games this year? And I'll tell you in a couple of minutes what the answer is on that one. Can't because you're throwing barrels like Donkey Kong. Yes, exactly. You can't shout out Mario, but Donkey Kong you can. Bacillus cereus bacteria. Yeah. No, you better not cheat. Oh, what just happened? Sudden shift in music, but it's still going. I was really pleased with myself for choosing this particular game's audio track today. I was quite pleased with myself for the effort that I put into the background as well. And I'll be most pleased if we get through this one without the technical difficulties that we had last week. Oh, no, don't be sorry, it's fine. Like, the point of the game is that you guess the OST. I was just surprised that you picked it up from, like, tone, I guess. Elden Ring, Game of the Year, still coming back. Halo, a lot off. Some other small cool games. All year was very good. There are loads of games. People get upset about my Xbox not releasing things, but there's always too many things to play. I surely knew that you would vaguely know it. No, Isla, because I wouldn't recognise music as being specifically Sonic as quickly as you did. I'm spoiling my own thing for the new people now. Because you didn't recognise the specific song. You don't... What? Nah. Anyway, I wouldn't have recognised it as Sonic necessarily. I might have recognised it as sounding like it was probably a platform game or something. But Kratos, welcome. You hardly played on Steam, but you're sure it'll be Shadowgate, as that was the most hours you spent this year on Steam. But what about the other platforms as well? So Steam is the only one that I have received personally, but I know on the Xbox side you had to go to True Achievements, or I can't remember which website, but people went and sought out the answer for Xbox. I didn't, because I don't want to know or care really. I play across too many platforms for those stats to mean very much. PlayStation, I don't know, I must have upset them. They didn't send me one. PlayStation sent them out to most people, but I checked my inbox today to see if there was anything from them, and they haven't told me. I've definitely played enough on the PlayStation to warrant a summary. Or have I? Have I only played 2 games on the PlayStation? Very difficult to keep track of time. I might only have played Horizon and God of War. That might be why they didn't email me. Is that true? No, that's not true. Stop making stuff up. I've definitely played something else on the PlayStation. I should watch you play the anime opening theme game. You misidentify everything and stuff, you know? Yeah. Well. You've had enough time now for your guesses of my Steam game split. My 2 most played games on Steam this year are Elden Ring and Skyrim VR. Yes, Luke. Welcome. Yeah. Luke also knows the background soundtrack that I told him today. So you're not allowed to guess, Luke. You played Horizon and now God of War. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I have played Horizon. Yeah, I've not played that far into Horizon. It's still on my list to go back to when I finish God of War, but I'm sure I've at least fired up Returnal to record some stuff. I'm sure there's something else that I've played on the PlayStation, like some kind of RPG or something unexpected. Maybe not. Maybe it is a ginormous paperweight. The other one that did send me an update though, so I got an update from Steam, nothing from Xbox, nothing from Nintendo, nothing from Epic, nothing from PlayStation, nothing from, I don't know, I'm making up platforms now because I can't remember any, nothing from like Atari. But I got an update from the heart rate monitor that I use when I'm in VR. So apparently I've broadcast myself using the heart rate monitor for 11 hours with an average heart rate of 74 and a peak heart rate, like highest on the treadmill, of like 142, which was lower than I expected. There will be more of that to come. But this is so these are a lot of my highlights for the year are already eking out of the conversation already. So Horizon Forbidden West, I really haven't played enough to say whether it's one of my highlights or not, but I actually think what I have played of it I did like. I've probably played, I don't know, I'm going to guess about 8-10 hours, something like that, so not a tiny amount, but also not enough to really like judge whether it's brilliant or terrible. So I'm going to go back to Horizon Forbidden West and I'm going to play it. God of War is definitely notable as the year goes. Like I say, it's massively high quality, despite some of the issues that I have with it. So that's definitely on the list as a thing that happened in 2022. I'm going to get this tattooed on my arm. I'm really bad. If you ask me what happened in 2021, it's long gone. I can't remember. Like my whole life just blends beyond last week. But I'm struggling. I'm trying really hard for the sake of this to like have a defined, distinct 2022 that I can remember, and I'm going to get it tattooed on my forearm. So Elden Ring was one of them. God of War was one of them. Horizon Forbidden West probably will be one of them by the time I played it. You always watch my shows, T4. Cool. And what inspired you to say hello today? Do you normally watch them after the fact, or are you here and live and quiet? It's all good either way. You can interact as much or as little as you want. I still appreciate it. Wayne, you think your most played game is Forza Horizon 5? I'm still so mad that Microsoft won't let me play that in VR. I would play it a lot in VR, but they won't let me. What else have I done this year? I played Octopath Traveler quite a bit, but that was a last year game, unless it came out on Xbox this year. Who knows? It will come to VR on PC. You say that, Wayne, but I've been waiting a very long time for Forza Horizon 4 and Forza Motorsport 7 to come about. Poker Night 2. There's a poker game in VR. Poker Stars VR it is. That's surprisingly good. I haven't played it for a long time. It's the one thing that Gaz likes in VR. It's fun. You should try that sometime. You want to try Blacktail? Blacktail is a funny one, Painful Discourse, because I keep on seeing on Twitter promoted twits. I call tweets twits. I don't know why. Can't help it. Insist on doing it. Always will do. But I keep seeing promoted tweets about this game that you just said, Blacktail. And I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. I've never heard of Blacktail, so I'm going to go and have a little look about it. And I clicked the link on the Twitter thing, and it was like, oh, you need to accept cookies, and then you need to verify your age, and then we'll tell you what the game is. And that's like 5 too many clicks for an advert to get my attention. So I backed out of it and never had a look. But now that you've mentioned it, I am going to YouTube trailer the shit out of it. Hold on. Blacktail. Blacktail Studio. Blacktail trailer. Give me a trailer. What is this game? Why is it so weirdly hidden? PlayStation launch trailer 2 weeks ago. Yeah, let's have a little look at that. So, here comes that thing that you said. It has masks and tentacles. Buying it right now. I love both tentacles and masks. Oh, it's this thing. I say, before recognizing absolutely nothing. It looks kind of nice. Is this a £70 affair? T-Forest, you want to get into VR, but you don't know which one to start with. You've got a PlayStation 5, so should you wait for the PSVR 2? Yes, you should, T-Forest. That would be my recommendation for anyone with a PlayStation 5 that's looking to get into it. I think that would be the way to go. My recommendation in general for people that are like, oh, I want to try VR, would be a Quest 2 for ease of use and ecosystem. The fact that you can just jump into it and play straight away. But for people that have got a PlayStation 5, that's where to go for high-end VR at the moment. So yes, that's my recommendation for you. It's cheap at the moment. How cheap is cheap? I might have a look at it. I don't know why I'm going to have a look at it. I clearly haven't got time to play it, but I will try. Is that the Bubba Tags game? I'm going to say yes. That's definitely what it is. Main story 6.5 hours. Well, that's my kind of game length. 6.5 hours. I can spare that over the course of like a month, so I might be able to get through that one by February. No, I'm going to get more games in. Let's talk about what I do for a little bit. No. Don't jump too far. Don't jump too far ahead. Let's carry on with the year. So, surprise games for this year. Does Octopath Traveler count? Can I count things that I've played this year? I can't even freaking remember what I've played this year. I need these platform updates to tell me what I've played. So surprise games for me. I can do anything. That's not true. I need to maintain some degree of structure, and I can't do that. So there we go. So Octopath Traveler, I liked it a bit, and then I didn't like it, and then I liked it, and then I freaking hated every developer that worked on it for what they did with the ending. And in hindsight, I still hate everything that they did for the ending. Ruined the game. So that's a shame. Baba Yaga and the Magic Geese, yes. Black Tail is about £18 to £20 at the moment, if you calculate correctly. I haven't had a look through. I assume both PlayStation and Xbox still have them. They're the Christmas sales. I've not had a look through. I saw that Resident Evil 8 was on sale on the Xbox, but I very much intend to play that on PlayStation VR 2. When I checked on PlayStation, it wasn't on sale there. The VR mode for Resident Evil 8 is a free upgrade for Resident Evil 8 if you own it on the PlayStation, but that is quite a lot of value. It might be why they're not wanting to discount it as much on that platform right now. As that comes out towards the end of February, exciting times. Wayne Vampire Survivors is... I still think it's a little bit overrated for what it is. I like it. I played it quite a lot for a period of about 3 days. It's impactful for me in that it made me think, hey, I can make a game. So it started me on a course of learning some things, which is, as games go and as impact goes, that's potentially like a big one. But part of my feeling inspired to go and do something is that it's so simplistic, and I just see opportunities to improve on what it's doing. But it also feels quite in reach to be able to make something like that. It's that, yeah, it's very cheap. It's like a few quid. It's also obviously on Game Pass. I think, is it free on mobile, or do you have to pay for it on mobile as well? I don't know. I can't help you with a haunted mouse, Isla. The best thing to do is pour strawberry yogurt on it. He bought Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, get it right, me. In the sales this year. Is that on sale right now? That's... Of all the Nintendo Switch games that I want to play, that's probably the top of the list. higher than Fire Emblem Engage when that comes out. I really want to play Xenoblade. I'm in this place where I really want to play it on better hardware. I could just say, sod you, Nintendo, let's do some emulating. Like, not criminal emulating. Get the game on sale and then emulate it and play it much nicer. Maybe. But tell me, Dakado, do you need to play 1 and 2 to enjoy number 3, or is it a good jumping in point for the series? That's my hesitation on that one. I haven't played the prior entries. But it looks really good. It looks exactly like my kind of game, despite the weird voice acting. You tried Facebook Meta and you were like, holy. You tried, as in you tried their headset, the Quest, or you tried entering the metaverse to talk to Mark Zuckerberg outside of Wendy's or whatever it is that they do there. You might just buy Blacktail with your last spare money this month. I have none of that right now and won't have. I'm like squirreling away any monies to pay for the PlayStation VR 2 that I pre-ordered, so I have to be pretty careful with what I do and don't buy. I also can't resist the odd shiny. What did I get? I don't know. This is why I haven't had a good look through the sales on the 2 consoles, because I know that I'll just start buying nonsense. But I can't even play because I haven't got the time. You're going to buy a laptop. That's a bold decision. I know you were thinking about it for quite some time, but that sounds like you're saying that with some conviction now. Because your laptop has upset you today. Because somebody told you to pour strawberry yogurt on the mouse, and now it's haunted and sticky. Probably will buy new boots. Fair enough. Gotta have them warm feet, I suppose. Your dad said he would help you as a Christmas present. Cool, that's exciting. We'll have such efficient video production. What else has stood out for me? So Vampire Survivors does make the list of things that that stood out as interesting. Wayne, you can have that. I haven't played much of it, but I still really like what's that musical game? The metal one, Metal Hellsinger. It's still a game that I like a lot. I've only done like 3 or 4 levels of it, and its indie qualities are already standing out in that I fought the same boss model 3 or 4 times. But it's a very rare mood-changing game. I can play Metal Hellsinger when I'm like not having a good time, and I can forget that I'm not having a good time for a little while. Particularly on the ones that have good tracks. So that's a game that stands out. If you can get into it, if you like start tripping over the rhythm, then it becomes frustrating. But I like that one a lot. What else have I played? There's been stuff. I want to say High on Life is a noteworthy game this year, but I'm absolutely going to play that one in virtual reality. So I'm hesitant because so much of that game is the jokes. So if I play through it now in pancake mode while it's trendy, those jokes might not be as funny the second time through. So I'm going to wait to play it in VR. My theory on that is that either it will be VR when it goes to other platforms, whenever that may be. Xbox don't usually tie these things up for too long, so hopefully it'll go VR on like PlayStation and stuff in a few months' time. But even if it doesn't, it runs on Unreal Engine, and the VR modding community are doing such wonderful things with the Unreal Engine at the moment. There's a modder called Preydog who's working with another, I can't remember who the other one is, and they can make pretty much any Unreal Engine game virtual reality. So that's way exciting for me. And when I say they make it virtual reality, I don't mean like there's 2 schools of VR mods. You get there's a fella called Luke Ross that is responsible for like the Grand Theft Auto 5 mod, Cyberpunk mod, Horizon Zero Dawn mod, things like that, Elden Ring mod. And he's very stubbornly refusing to change the controls of those games. So he gives you like the VR experience of being able to look around, but they're still controller games. You don't have hands in those worlds. So you can play in first or third person, but if you're playing Horizon, you're still pressing buttons to dodge and to shoot and things. The other school of modders, like Praydog and whoever, the team that do the Resident Evil games, they retrofit hands into things. Which is why when I play Resident Evil 7, so long as my tracking is working, I have hands and I can shoot things. High on Life will get that treatment. It will get fully VR'd properly in such a way that I can use my hands properly to shoot things and all the stuff that you want to do in VR. And from what I've played of the game, I'd be surprised if it hasn't been made for VR in the first place. Like, all of the interactions that I've had kind of look like it should be. So, you're surprised that Stalker 2 trailer today on IGN did not have PlayStation at the end. You thought it was just timed for 3 months. Ricardo, I think it is just a 3-month thing, but it's a marketing deal. So, listing of platforms, that doesn't mean that it's not coming to PlayStation. It's just one of those things where they're not going to mention these other platforms during trailers that are essentially sponsored by Xbox. And yeah, 3 months seems to be Microsoft's typical. So I'm selfishly hoping that High on Life arrives on PlayStation shortly after PlayStation VR 2 as a little flagship. Not confirmed by any stretch, might not be the case, but I would be happy if it does. Yes, if you're here right now, punch with maximum strength, force, velocity and power the like button. No refunds on your PCs if you smash them. But yes, please do hit that like button. Do the things that help the channel, which I'll talk about in a minute, because that's a thing to reflect on. This channel right here and what I do with it. What kind of content I can do here and at Game On Daily and Pornhub and wherever else. I don't know. I couldn't think of a third platform or place. TikTok. That's the sensible one. I'm not doing TikTok. Freaking hate TikTok. Made the mistake the other day of opening TikTok. So I did a few YouTube shorts on the VR stuff and I also put them on TikTok. I think I had to press back on my phone 5 times to get TikTok to close instead of just playing me different videos. Very upsetting stuff. I don't like bastards. TikTok is bastards. Tell them about the bad thing you did. You are going to have to be way more specific. Way more specific. You doubt it'll be 3 months for the PlayStation 5 Stalker. They were hit hard because of the war. Well, yes, painful discourse. That is a whole different aspect to consider for them. The release date of the game in general is a little bit wild. T4 Sister Wayne, that a lot of people got good things to say about High on Life. You haven't played it yet, but can't wait to. Yeah. So, Wayne, High on Life is a little too bugged. You've done everything to get all the Chivos, but one won't pop. So, is that the only bug, though? Just with achievements and stuff? Because I won't really mind that very much. When I played it the first time, like just to see what it was like pretty much when it came out, I had some audio bugs where certain parts of conversations, certain lines would just completely disappear and you wouldn't get to hear them. That was, considering what the game is and how central the voice lines are, that was a bit disappointing. But when I went through it today to get this little video that's playing, I didn't have that issue anymore. So the video that you said you would edit, oh, that's not a bad thing that you did. That's a good thing that you haven't quite did. You also want to get Evil West. Yeah. Oh, don't remind me. I really want Midnight Suns. Marvel's Midnight Suns. I want, I kind of want the Callisto Protocol, but on a very big sale from where it is. This is pure me without the gas filter. Tim the Sorcerer, welcome along. That's exactly what it is. That's what this channel is. Yeah, people think that I filter him and try and like rein him in and stuff. I don't. I let Gaz do what he wants. But then I come here so that I get a word in edgeways as well. Midnight Suns is great. It's definitely like up my alley. It's a game that I want to play. It's an issue of time, and God of War Ragnarok eating all of it. I say it's an issue of time. It's an issue of time and money. Callisto Protocol, Midnight Suns. There was another one in December that I want to play as well. And I can't remember what it was. There's a lot of stuff. Buy a new CPU if you want Callisto cheap, as in free. AJH, Callisto Protocol is £70. Buying a new processor for the sake of a free Callisto Protocol is terrible advice. I appreciate that you're here giving me this advice. But No. No, that's a good deal if you happen to be in the market for one of those components. Who has it? Is that an AMD deal or an Nvidia? Ricardo starting New Game Plus on Midnight Suns. So how long did it take you to get through Midnight Suns? How big a game is it? AMD. I can't even. So my PC at the moment has like a nice enough processor to last me for probably at least a couple more years. I do want a new GPU, but it definitely won't be AMD, I'm afraid. Much as I like them, they're a much nicer company than Nvidia, and I wish they would compete and be successful and sell me things that I want. There's too big a disparity between AMD and Nvidia at the moment, particularly in terms of streaming and things like that. Streaming and recording. You're sleeping. How rude. I'm trying my best. I will try and shout and scream and like be an energetic YouTuber to keep you awake. DLSS 3, even 2. Actually, I'm not that fussed about that. I did a little bit of looking at DLSS closely, because Forza Horizon 5 supports DLSS and it supports the DLAA, so their anti-aliasing thing, and it supports AMD's latest FSR stuff on the PC side, and a lot of nice ray tracing and things. So I had a look comparing them, and I actually really didn't like DLSS. It's really nice in stills, but it has some strange ghosting and outlining of things that was impossible to ignore, and weirdly enough also shows up in the anti-aliasing that they had, the DLAA. So FSR was slightly less crisp overall, but a nicer image to me, because I look at when I'm looking closely to see whether a game looks good or not, for me it's defects that show up first above like nice pixels. If I see bad lines, jaggy things, shimmering and stuff like that, that interferes with what I'm looking at a lot more so than you gain by having it look a bit sharper. So for me, I actually preferred FSR to DLSS, but I can use FSR on an Nvidia card. I can use AMD's upscaling just fine. The things that I can't use are ray tracing. See, AJH, you say ray tracing there, but I actually I like it. I will use it where available with a decent frame rate. So that's a big advantage that they have. But the main ones is in rendering and stuff. You're off to bed. No worries, Luke. Have a better night than you've been having. And I will catch you soon. So cheers for stopping in and not spoiling the music. FSR battle versus DLSS, pure CPU against AI. Well, software, yeah. Yeah. Performance-wise, DLSS does have an edge for sure. It is running on its like dedicated hardware, as it were, but it's not a massive edge. Yeah. It's not a massive. Well, I almost did a video on this very topic, and I decided it was too dry and too boring. I captured about 8 different benchmarks from Forza Horizon 5, very clearly showing the differences between them. So I've had them under a microscope, the DLSS and the FSR, and I prefer FSR, which is like, probably could do a clickbaity hit piece video on that, but it would be dry and boring, and I'm not actually that interested in it myself, so I can't pretend it's interesting if I don't find it interesting. Hard Space Shipbreaker would probably be cool in VR. Yes, I'm pretty sure there's already a mod for that one as well. Make one? No, I can't do it. It's too boring. And do you know, possibly the only fanboys worse than console fanboys are GPU fanboys. It's a hostile crowd. It's a hostile crowd, and some of it is subjective. I prefer the softer FSR image, but just realised the same developers are making Homeworld 3 as Hard Space Shipbreaker. Okay, good. I've not played any of the Homeworld games, but I'm assuming you're one of the cult followers of it. Oh, what else is it? Give me your highlights from the year that we haven't already mentioned. There's loads of you here now. Well, loads as this channel goes. You know, these backgrounds and the OST and all of that stuff takes freaking ages to sort out, like relatively compared to podcasts and stuff that will just record Discord and show you it. And it's absolutely not worth the time that I put into it. Right, from an analytical perspective. But I do it anyway because it's fun, and hopefully you appreciate seeing something other than Discord. So my current plan, and this is slightly sidetracking to talking more about what I'm doing with my channels and content and things, but we will loop back to games as you spit them out and tell me about them, tell me what you've been playing. But for my channel, so this show that I do on a Thursday, I intend to carry it on. I hope to. I realistically, it takes a lot of time to set up the backgrounds and stuff, so I don't know, I might get exhausted and die of it at some point, but I consider this to be kind of worthwhile as the content goes. Boozy the Clown Power Wash Simulator is not your game of the year. Go and clean your garden, have all that fun, and like satisfy whoever you live with in the process. High on Life TV backdrop of my Halo stream. Yeah, it's hopefully subtle, but I even bothered to add some like light from the TV onto the ceiling and floor. A little bit of TV glare going on. Just it's not like a very sophisticated effect. It looks a bit shit when I look at it now, but I'm still pleased that I bothered to do it. No, I didn't call you a fanboy, Painful Discourse. I'm not here throwing insults at you. That's not the way I roll. But you liked Homeworld in general. There. Heat Up. Power Sim was a great game. It's for a chill time. Yeah, but Wayne, you like Lawnmower Simulator as well, which is the same thing, right? The same kind of hook. In that it's just something you can get on with and relax. Which, I mean, I think it did better than Lawnmower Simulator in terms of getting a little social media bounce. A lot of people like Power Simulator, but I can't bring myself to do it. We always go back to that game. It's relevant here, Wayne. It's relevant because you're talking about Power Wash Simulator. Lawnmower Simulator is the other. Like, here's a mundane job in real life in a video game for you. Go do it. Right? You platinumed Power Wash. Well then, Painful Discourse, do I ever have a recommendation for you? Go play Lawnmower Simulator and platinum that. Tell me when you finish mowing the lawns, and then we'll find another one. The Underground and Executive Club Bogs were your highlights of the year. What does that mean? Is either of those a game? No, that's Power Wash Simulator. So you've cleaned the underground train station. I've seen that map. And Executive Club Bogs with a power washer. Okay. Good. What is this music now? Samba de Amigo. That's not a spoiler. That's not the answer for the OST for those that arrived late and haven't seen the answer yet. What else? What else? No, I'm still talking about my channel. So this show that we're doing right now, this will carry on Thursday. That's my plan. There's some chance it might shift home and go to the Game on Daily channel if it's smooth and exciting, but I'm not sure about that. That's just a possibility. Other content though, all I've really done in the year gone by, so my target for 2022 was to get approximately exactly 4 billion subscribers over here. And I'm not that close to that. Like, I made some good progress towards it, but I didn't reach the target. It's awesome to look at the VR setup living in Skyrim. Some people... Yeah, so I read that and trailed off. So it's awesome to look at my VR setup living in Skyrim. However, some people like to get some of my technical knowledge. I like talking about stuff, and I don't like... I never would declare myself to be like particularly technical or expert compared to many people that are actually in the industry doing exciting things. So... But there's a place for the level of conversation that we can have here. I like it. I'm glad that you enjoy it too. That is perfect. And that is what this channel is for. So the channel that I'm on right now kind of exists for me to just be myself and do the things that are more me, stuff that I like. This year I've mostly used it for, I've gone back and forth and never really settled any kind of like content plan, I suppose, which I should really do if I want the time invested to be worthwhile, if that makes any sense. So I moved my live streaming over from Twitch to YouTube, which if any of you are streaming interested, then you're welcome to ask questions about why I would do that and what the difference is, but I'm not going to inflict it on you if you're not interested in getting into that space yourself. But I have settled on YouTube for live streams. I've also, and this kind of period of reflection is nothing to do with the end of the year. This kind of happens once every week or two. I start thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? And what should I do different? And this is a regular occurrence and it'll carry on. So anything that I say right now might not apply in 2 weeks' time. I'm fickle and ridiculous like that. But my current thought is that the live streams of games, I'm not going to stop those. I'm not going to focus on them either. They're just a thing to do like in the background when nothing else is going on. So those will still exist on this channel, particularly so the VR ones. That's not necessarily true. What I want to focus more on though is content that is more easily consumable. So live stuff is great because you can come along and you can talk to me and we have these interactions like we do on the Thursday, but with more silliness in the background, I suppose. Those will still be there, but I want more of a focus on this channel on like more consumable content. So I'll play things not necessarily live and chop up the good bits and make some more entertaining videos. That's what I want to do, time allowing and viewership allowing, because I can't just spend time doing it for no reason. You played Power Wash while listening to podcasts. Yes, painful discourse. It's imagine you're sitting in a field listening to your favorite podcasts on a lawnmower, except you're not really in a field, you're sitting on your couch, the lawnmower is virtual, and you are playing Lawnmower Simulator on Xbox Game Pass whilst listening to XNC or whatever it is that you like to listen to. It could be you could be doing that. Minecrafty? What's Minecrafty? And shorts. I should keep doing shorts. Shorts are like quite simple to make because you have to keep them under 60 seconds. There's no point in editing too heavily because people are watching them on a phone, so can't be doing fancy crap. And YouTube pushes them quite a lot. So on this channel right here, there should be more videos, basically, is what I'm getting at. More videos and more shorts. Possibly less live streams than there has been, but still some of those. And definitely still this regular Thursday show at the moment. None of that touches on the Game On Daily YouTube channel, which I'm sure hopefully everyone here is familiar with. But if you're not, Game On Daily is a much bigger YouTube channel than this, where we do, mostly Gaz does at the moment, different kinds of content. So more, for me, anything that is more mainstream interest, so like console games and things like that, and like higher production value, so videos that take a bit of effort, those would go on the Game On Daily channel. I have not found anything to do, anything to contribute over there at the moment. I used to do some of the like Digital Foundry style technical analysis of games and things, and they were fine. They took a long time and they attracted console war nonsense that I didn't want to deal with, so I kind of stopped doing those. I also used to do, quite a long time ago, every Friday I did a weekly news video called TLDR, summarizing news that had come through the Game On Daily platform. I did those every Friday for about 6 months and they weren't really very popular, so they stopped. But if I ever come up with a new video format that makes sense for the Game On Daily channel, and this is something I really like, I should do, I need to contribute over there more than I am. If I ever find a content structure that fits there, then those will be on the main channel. So there'll be things here that are me talking all the kinds of stuff that I like and trying to put out a lot of content, and there'll be more refined stuff hopefully on the Game On Daily channel. That's my plan for, I'm gonna say 2023, but my plan will probably change by Tuesday because I'm full and I can't concentrate. This is a test. there's a Q&A thing. Ask for my number or home address. So right at this moment in time, if you're watching live, Isla's experimenting with a new YouTube feature that hasn't been available on this channel before, that seemingly prompts for questions, which is a very good fit for the format of this show, as that is what we do. I don't know how I'm going to see them though. I don't know where they go. So very much an experiment. But if you've got a question that you want to ask, don't type it in chat. My pin, I don't even know. So good luck with that one. Not even under extreme duress. You can waterboard me for days and I won't be able to tell you my pin for many things. So Sean T, welcome. Do I use the Steam Deck? No. Sean, there is no you should know this. You're not expected to keep track of what I do and don't play with. That is absolutely fine and normal. The Steam Deck is a noteworthy thing that happened this year for one, so good topic introduction. Steam Deck is a thing that happened in 2022. A lot of people play and love it. Luke, that was here 10 minutes ago, was telling me about the Steam Deck that he played just today, actually. I saw him earlier in the day, and he mentioned that his cousin, nephew, uncle, something like that, was playing with the Steam Deck over Christmas, and he was very impressed by the device. I would say the Steam Deck is wonderful if you like to play things on the go, but I don't. I never play anything outside of my home, really. I don't play mobile phone games. I don't take my virtual reality around to the park. I don't touch the Nintendo Switch. If I am going to play the Nintendo Switch, I've only ever used it docked on the TV. So painful discourse. That would be the kind of personal question I probably might bat away for the time being. Oh, there's a question. It's just come up. I don't know how this works, but I've got a question at the top. It's from Sauron Grant that says, will I be reviewing the PlayStation VR 2? Sauron Grant, thank you for the question. I will come on to it in a minute. So I've distracted myself. I'm going to talk about the Steam Deck first, and then I'll come on to that question. Personally, as I never touch anything away from home, partly because of motion sickness, and partly because I don't have any kind of situation where I would look at a small screen and play games. I play games at home where I've got TVs, monitors, and virtual reality headsets. So the portable gaming thing just doesn't have a place for me. If it did have any place, it would be like on a commute. So if I had to get trains about the place, which I haven't done for a while, I used to have to do it quite a lot though. Mobile gaming, Steam Deck gaming, Switch gaming would make a lot more sense if I was still doing that, except as soon as I glance at a screen on a train or a car or a plane or anything like that, I immediately die inside and feel sick. I'm extremely sensitive to motion sickness, which is why virtual reality is such an interesting challenge for me. So no, I don't have a Steam Deck, but I do think it is a good device for people who can fit it into their lifestyle, as it were, if that makes sense. I know Zorka talks about it a lot. He likes to play for an hour before bed, like literally play in bed, which I have no... That doesn't suit the way I sleep at all, because I'm a vampire and I sleep upside down with my hands like properly tucked, or something like that. Gaz has a Steam Deck. He's not mentioned it for a long time. I'm not sure. A lot of people bought it for the novelty and then realised they also don't actually play things on small screens. Do you have one though, Sean? What was the reason for your question on the Steam Deck? Are you a Steam Deck fan? Are you a Steam Deck curious potential buyer? Or was it just because you were wondering? What about doing a live show with Hargy, Sans, Gaz? Sean T, I can't with that. I give up on those side of conversations. He's too Xbox for me to have a conversation with. Hargy's a nice guy, don't get me wrong, but he's very extreme in his taste in games, and those conversations I find just go round in circles and don't get anywhere. So no, I think that would be a bad idea. I will have Hargy on the side with Gaz is like better at hosting a conversation and moving things along than I am, so Yes, no circular conversations there. He plays so many games. Hoggy plays, like, if he has an Xbox summary, it will be more games played than anyone else. So if you're after, and this is where Hoggy is good for conversation, if you're after knowing about everything that's on like Game Pass or Xbox in general, he's played everything there. So talk to him about that, have conversations about that. If I could have a conversation with Hoggy and keep it very much focused on games, then I think we could have some good conversations. But as soon as we get into parity clauses and sales, it won't work anymore. How does he have time to play so many games and make so much money? That I don't know. What's my favourite alcohol drink? I like many. I'm trying to train myself to like whiskey. So for my birthday, which was in October, Isla got me a set of 5 whiskies to try because she knows that this is an ambition of mine to become more grown up and acquire a taste for whiskey. So I was doing little tastes of them whilst playing Gotham Knights. That's a game that came out this year. But I only got through 2. I've still got 3 to go. So whiskey taste pending. I like spiced rum a lot. I like gin sometimes. I guess if I had to pick a favourite one, spiced rum is probably my go-to at the moment. Spiced rum in ginger beer or any other soft drink, really. Is Lawnmower Simulator anything like Lawnmower Man? Painful discourse? No. No, it is not. I did a little... This is another little experimental project I did on my channel. I did some not very good videos. Taste test where I played a game for like an hour or 2 and then talked about it a bit. I did one on Lawnmower Simulator, and my favourite part of the video was the mismatch in music because it's so like, what's the word? I don't know. Not tame. I don't know, but I went for a massive contrast. The music that I had alongside my mowing of lawns, I had the Halo 2 theme and the Skyrim theme for maximum drama. Dramatic, epic music alongside Lawnmower Simulator. I've missed some questions here. I know I have. I saw more and they've gone. Right, the question that came through the Q&A form. Isla, do you control this? There are questions in the question tab. So what I can see through the chat that I have open on OBS at the moment, and this is very much directly to you, Isla, as controller of it. I can see a question from Sauron Grant. This is while I'm reviewing PlayStation VR 2. I'm going to answer that one, but do you have like the power to cycle through these questions, or do I need to click things to see what they are? You would love a Lawnmower Man game. A Lawnmower Man game. Just get yourself some VR, and it will be great. Sean T, you've always wanted to hear more from me on the podcast. You love Gaz, but he dominates the discourse. So it's not his fault. It's not his fault. On the Saturdays in particular, the Saturdays are and have always been more about the guests. So Gaz is very good at hosting that podcast in terms of keeping the conversation moving and things like that, and keeping the guests involved and prying into, like, I don't know, getting interesting takes from them, being a little bit confrontational when it needs a bit of energy and things like that, and keeping it moving. But those have always been about the guests, so it's on me that I very much try to be concise and succinct. I don't say very much on Go Live on a Saturday because that's like my contribution to making sure that we are hearing from the people that we've invited. We will have coming at some point, hopefully early in 2023, a new show on a Tuesday, which will involve a lot more of us talking. There will be some guest involvement, but that guest might be you personally. Like, well, it's going to be a community show, and it'll be a lot more of us talking. So you'll hear from me, and obviously there's this on a Thursday where I just talk altogether too much. Will I be reviewing the PlayStation VR 2? The reason that I haven't just given you a straight yes or no answer is the answer is yes, but I'm also going to be reviewing the Meta Quest Pro. I've had that one for almost a month now and haven't reviewed it yet. So yes. I need to get off my arse and do it. There will be, I think, 2 MetaQuest Pro reviews. There's going to be a MetaQuest Pro review now that expresses the frustrations that I have with it. And then if they get around to fixing those problems, which I'm pretty confident they will, I'll do an update. An updated review of that one. PlayStation VR 2, I will, yeah, I have it pre-ordered. I don't take free stuff and do like shill reviews. It will be a proper one. I'm going to get it and I will give very genuine thoughts on just how amazing it is. It's going to be brilliant. I'm so excited for it. That's the level of unbiased you can expect from me. It's taking a chunk of money that I don't have, so it will be honest as it comes. Did I see the Stalker 2 gameplay? I didn't. I'm going to look it up right now. So Stalker had a new trailer today through IGN, I believe, a few hours ago, and I haven't watched it yet, so I'm going to find it. 3 hours ago. Do I watch it on IGN? I don't like watching things on IGN, but this is properly their one, so I guess it's acceptable. Right, here it comes. Here it comes. Stalker. Let's do it on theatre mode. Ah, Stalker. We're not going to do sound because I've got a Burning Rangers theme tune and I'm going to listen to that instead. Painful Discourse. You like Gaz, but he's getting too shouty lately. A bit too much sauce. Fair. He's having a hard time. The only thing that I will say in terms of discourse with Gaz is he's too focused on Twitter. A lot of his worldview comes from Twitter, which is, it'll be the same for a lot of people, but when you engage a lot with the community, it forms your worldview to an extent. And Gaz is very in with the Xbox community on Twitter, so he gets frustrated at the same time as they get frustrated and gets hyped at the same time as they get hyped. So at the moment, the Xbox community is expressing disgust broadly, so that's what he's going to do. Source is great, but in a short form format. So the source for me, and I've told Gaz this, so he won't mind me saying it at all. Gaz is very good at editing videos. Well, in a moment, Gaz is very good at editing videos. His production quality is exceptional. His sense of humor translates well both sides of the pond. He's doing well in that sense. I don't think he needs to focus on random console fanboys on Twitter, and he knows that to be true. But he's still going to keep doing it for a little while yet. Still, I'll steer him to better things, whilst retaining the absolute quality that he has. And it's part of the reason that I don't do much on the Game On Daily channel, is because he is like really good as a video producer. He produces really good content, and he takes a lot of pride in it and puts a lot of time and effort into it. So you agree with everything that Gaz is saying? Accountability and honesty is what these conversations need more of. Yeah, that is also a thing that I'll say to his credit as well. Like, he is sincere. He's not just saying things for the sake of it. I say that Twitter influences his worldview a little bit. It does, but also... Oh, Stalker's finished. I didn't talk about it while I was playing, but I hope you got to see it, because that game looks spectacular, right? Gaz is very sincere in what he says. He does believe what he's saying. He's not saying it for the sake of like clicks or anything like that. And you can't not be critical of certain things, right? Console guys are about to be introduced to item management. Yeah, as long as it's got a good controller interface for it, right? I mean, console guys have played Skyrim. That's in VR, that's definitely heavy on the item management. Which is my favorite eyebrow? Wait. Don't have very good control of either of them, so I'm going to say yours. It's neither of mine, that's for sure. Does anybody here have particularly good eyebrows or particularly good eyebrow control? I don't. I'm trying to raise and like move them independently. No, my eyebrows suck. One thing I will say for my eyebrows is I don't have to think about like trimming them or anything, so they're both pretty okay eyebrows. Sometimes in some light they disappear completely, but... No, Wayne, I'm not a secret lawnmower simulator fan. I am an open, honest, upfront loud lawnmower simulator fan. If a woodchuck could chuck wood, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck? I don't know what a woodchuck is, so I'm gonna say 16. State of Decay 2 had item management. I'm sure there are many games that do. You have the rock level of eyebrow control. So my favourite eyebrows are God Emperor Sofa King's eyebrows. To return to that question. Is the Quest 2 plus Resident Evil 7 plus Beat Saber worth getting for 350 quid nowadays? Or would you recommend waiting for... The end of the question has disappeared from my view. The Quest 2, it's Resident Evil 4, not 7, that you can get on the Quest 2. And it is very good on the Quest 2. With Beat Saber, is it worth getting? Or would I recommend waiting for... What's the end? Someone tell me the end of the question. Click on it and see what it does. Waiting for the PSVR 2 or the Quest 3. Okay, why that's difficult. If you've got a PlayStation 5, I would recommend waiting for the PlayStation VR 2. If you haven't got a PlayStation 5, then that's a discrepancy of like 700 quid. So in that case, Quest 2 becomes much more appealing. Quest 3 next year. Yeah. Does that make sense as an answer? KY, do you have a PlayStation 5? I'm very excited by the PlayStation VR 2 in general, not just because of the device itself. So the device it's really impressive, and I think people are going to like it a lot. But it's also going to, hopefully for me, like reinvigorate virtual reality content. It's going to give developers an appetite to make proper VR games again, because it's been a very quiet year. Everything's made to fit the Quest now instead of being made to fit big chunky hardware. And hopefully PlayStation will light a spark up under the VR market and get me some more games, some more like Half-Life Alyx quality, Skyrim quality proper games. Orange whiskey. I'll take your word for it that it was really nice. What's like visualizing things but in the mouth? That's a weird thing to say. I can't like imagine taste it. You're not sure he meant that to be a question, but it got in there somehow. It's done. Fortunately, YouTube doesn't support clips very well, so that's fine. You got a PlayStation 5, but you're not keen on lackluster Sony support after year one. Well, it's possible. It is possible. They obviously with PlayStation VR 1 they did. I think the year one support is going to be pretty good. I do. And I'm going to be loud enough that I'm going to use my powers as an internet global influencer to ensure the success of the PlayStation VR 2 so that I get more games. Just as soon as I get those 4 billion subscribers. You wish Microsoft would have invested in their AR headset into the consumer market instead of selling it to the US Army. I wish Microsoft would stick to what they said they were going to do and let VR grow and flourish on the PC side where it's all open and friendly, and then move into it in Xbox if and when the time is right. But what Microsoft are actually doing for VR is just suffocating it. Buying up studios that would make a VR game and telling them they're not allowed to anymore. What Microsoft should be doing is they don't need to put it on Xbox. I agree with them that it's not console ready as such. I'm hoping that's not saying that the PlayStation VR 2 is not going to be amazing. I think it will be, but I can understand Microsoft not wanting to dabble in that market before it really exists. But I should be able to play Forza Horizon in VR. Should be able to. Next, High on Life, not true either. What? That one I don't understand. Dan Harmon asking for Gaz to feature as a voice actor on... no, Fonz is the voice actor. Gaz, no. I need to practice throwing a VR bottle. So this was an old video where I had the HP reverb, and Windows Mixed Reality had a weakness for throwing. It was quite difficult to throw anything. I'm going to replay Alex and play it properly on a better headset in the near future. Oh no, these things are frozen. No good, no good. Oh, come back. Oh, it came back. It came back by itself. Panic over. So, just pretend that little glitch didn't happen at all. Half-Life Alyx, throwing bottles. I played it on the HP Reverb. Windows Mixed Reality was not good for... I'm not going to refresh, it's fine. I apologise for whatever just happened then, I don't know. It froze, it's back. Technical difficulties compared to last week, I can live with. It's a couple of seconds instead of half an hour or whatever I had to deal with last time. Throwing bottles on Windows Mixed Reality was a problem. It had terrible off-camera tracking, so you just couldn't throw things properly. I will replay Half-Life Alyx in its entirety. I've not actually played it in its entirety, but I will play it properly on a good headset, and I will throw things at everyone, and it'll be brilliant. Throwing is pretty strange in VR in general, because things don't have any weight, so it's quite hard to figure out how a game is going to estimate power and stuff. Some of them have you super strong, and the subtlest of gestures will send something launching across like a football stadium distance, and some of them feel a bit more real. Half-Life Alyx, I think, was pretty decent with it. So yeah, I'm going to throw bottles at things, bricks at things, all kinds of stuff, whilst wearing a cone on my head. Is Fallout 4 in VR? Yes. God, Emperor, Sofa King. Fallout 4 is entirely available in VR. Much like Skyrim, it didn't launch in particularly good shape, so it requires mods. The modding scene is not as sophisticated as it is on Skyrim. So Fallout 4 is on my list to get to. I played it a bit, but Skyrim was better, so I went back to Skyrim. Fallout 4 is going to happen in VR in the near future. And if we're all lucky, I mean, it would be really nice if Bethesda's VR games come to PlayStation VR 2 as well. That'll be a question. They're releasing some of their stuff. Bethesda is obviously still releasing things on PlayStation Plus. So hopefully they'll be allowed to do some VR stuff, and then maybe I'll forgive Microsoft. But until I get Forza Horizon 5, I'm not going to forgive Microsoft. Tell us where the boob room is hidden. Who asked this question? Painful Discourse. There is one, Painful Discourse, but I could not tell you where it is without seriously doxing Isla, which wouldn't be a reasonable thing to do. So we're going to have to find one in a game somewhere. I'm going to assume actually VR chat's probably got every room you can imagine, for better or worse. Sauron Grant with another question. This is really handy. What a great feature for a show like this. You have a PlayStation VR 1, but is it worth it, or would it be an upgrade to go to Quest 2? Sauron Grant, PlayStation VR 1 was horrible to use. Quest 2 is not horrible to use. So in that respect, it's a worthwhile upgrade. To have proper VR where you've got hands and you can turn around is a big upgrade from the PlayStation. Again though, my go-to recommendation at the moment, and I say this prior to trying it, so like a little bit tentative, but PlayStation VR 2 is the way to go if you can. Could that be the future of VR simulated? Wait a minute, AJH. I've missed part of what you said there. So I had a good conversation about virtual reality actually with ACG. So Karak invited me to podcast with him, and it was just me and ACG, me and Karak, for 3 hours talking about all kinds of VR stuff and exciting things like that. Which is on Spotify if you wanted to catch it. I think only Spotify. But he talked about some experimental device that he's been playing with that has it's essentially a glove, but what it does is it just puts pressure in your hands in very specific places to simulate weight and motion. So we were talking about Blade and Sorcery that has like a strange weighted system to all the weapons and stuff. It's on the TV in the room right now behind me, Blade and Sorcery. But it has a feature so that as you swing like something around in your hand, subtle pressure on certain parts of it actually do a surprisingly good job of simulating holding something. It is a shame that ACG's podcast isn't on YouTube, because then I could see what people had to say about it. I like to see if I've been on a podcast or something, I check the comments to see like how much people do or don't hate me. And I don't know how much people do or don't hate me from that one. Sean T, yes I can. VR treadmills are not a very practical thing to go for at the moment. So I have the main ones that are on the market, like realistically you can get and have at home, are from a company called Cat VR. And I have the first generation Catwalk C at the moment, which is, it has pros and cons. Overall, I'm very happy with it. It lets me run around Skyrim. Significant cons that it has is it's got a bit of a delay on it. So as you try and run, there's like a delay before it realizes that you're walking and before it realizes that you've stopped. So quite frequently when I'm playing games like Skyrim, I will run into a wall or something. They have a second generation treadmill that dramatically cuts that delay and is also better for more subtle motions like moving sideways and things like that. It is on my to purchase list as soon as possible, but they are very expensive. They are like, I think in the US it's just over $1,000, and it's worse in other countries because it costs quite a lot to ship around as well. But it is a thing I save up for after I've got the PlayStation VR 2. What's with the horrible background music with my awesome voice? Horrible background music's harsh, some of it's great. My voice isn't awesome, I've got a sore throat and it hurts. And also my voice is annoying. Cannot stand to watch or listen to myself. When I do go back to podcasts I've been on to read the checks and things, I very much mute. I don't want to hear it play. Mute it and just read what people say. If VR picks up in popularity, do you see them becoming more widely adapted? No, not soon. So the other thing about the treadmill, it's brilliant for free roaming, for running around. So if I'm playing a game like Skyrim and I want to cover distance, it's fantastic. If I want to shoot people, it's great. You can run around and you can shoot people. But when it comes to like Blade and Sorcery on screen at the moment, or a boxing game or something like that, it's kind of restrictive relative to not being on a treadmill. So like if you want to shift beside someone to stab them in the ribs or like give them a little hook to the temple, that's a lot harder on a treadmill than it would be if you music is shy. You have to bear with the music. It's got some good tracks in there. I'm going to get back to the music in a second. So like little on the spot movements, shifting around and trying to fight things is potentially harder on a treadmill than not. And that's the thing that, again, the second generation one's supposed to be a bit better for. One of the reasons that I want it. But in terms of it being more widespread, you have to be a massive enthusiast to have it, because the treadmill that I've got, you can't see it, but it's beside me here, takes up a chunk of space. Is there any alternative? There aren't many. I'll get to that in a second, actually, because there are a few things around. The treadmill is big, it's heavy, and essentially, like, your mileage might vary. You might have bigger houses, particularly if you're in the States or whatever, bigger rooms and bigger houses. But in the UK, in a normal person house, you're pretty much writing off a room to have a treadmill like this. I'm fortunate we had a garage that we converted into a room specifically for, it's my studio / game on daily office / virtual reality room. So I've got a treadmill space, I've got green screens all around it, it's there, and I can do that. But can it be mainstream? I don't think most people have got a spare room to set up a treadmill in, which is a problem that VR has in general, because it kind of needs a bit of space. So no, I think it'll be a little while. In terms of alternatives, there are some. There's software that tries to estimate it by hand movement. So you do like a walking motion with your hands and it translates that into movement. You've got they call it Cat Loco. It's essentially trackers on your feet, so you can march on the spot and it translates that into forward movement. Some people like that kind of thing. Cyber Shoes is another company that does one where you can sit on a chair and the shoes have little wheels on the bottom, so you can do a sitting down walking thing that looks a bit silly but might work all right. But for the time being, the main way to move around is the thing that you said, you know, sticks, which is a problem because sticks are the best way to make yourself sick. Especially when the problem that PlayStation VR had, and the problem that a lot of VR has, is people that are used to playing on a console with two sticks. I could read the phone book and you'd fall asleep. No, thanks. I appreciate that, but a lot of people will say the opposite and hate my voice. It's one of the reasons that I stopped doing the TLDRs, because people were mean. People were mean and said I was a robot. Every week there'd be comments. Robot, talk better, loser. And it was hurtful, so I stopped. Let them win. This is a tea. It's really, really cold. Not brilliant. Not brilliant. A lot of people can get in the bin, yes. It's going to need to be a big bin, but yes. Yes, so on the music that hasn't been received very well by Sauron Grant and a few others. Sean, we'll talk motion sickness in a minute. It's a good topic. The OST in the background is always from a game. Usually from a good game, but always from a game. Not necessarily good. I pick whatever I feel like on the day. It's part of the show. The background is always going to change to a different game, and the OST is always from a game. So if you can recognize what it is, then you get fictional nothing points that don't mean anything. You get bragging rights for the duration of the show. I don't think we've actually had the exact name of the game today. It's a bit of an unusual one with a fairly diverse soundtrack, so hopefully there are some bits and pieces you like. But I bet there have been other weeks where there have been soundtracks that you would vibe with a little better. So I apologise that you are not enjoying the soundtrack for today. You don't yell. You can say the answer whenever you want, but you don't have to either. That's also fine. Wish they could repurpose the Kinect tech and integrate it with VR to help with walking. Yeah, and full body tracking in general would be really useful. Kinect had too much latency to be like the one way of controlling VR, but it could supplement the ways that we already have and be very useful. You can do some things with it, with Kinect, surprisingly enough, but not enough things. Is it Super Mario Odyssey? No, it is not. Phoning a friend is cheating. What kind of rules are you playing by here? Wild. Look how 3D went, and that was just with glasses. Yeah, but 3D's not amazing like VR is. You have the room, you're just generally not interested until it turns from a headset to glasses. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And like, my thing with VR is I don't need it to be mainstream. I just need it to be popular enough that they make games for it. And then I don't mind if it's not there for other people. Sean, keep holding that thought about the joysticks and the sickness, because I'm going to come back to that. But the other thing that I have on it, AJH, is I'm assuming you play like consoles, PC, one or both. I can't remember exactly what you play. But for a lot of people, that's too much. Like, I can go and talk to, I don't know, my mum, and she'll say, like, no, I like to watch things. I don't want to hold a controller and interact with my entertainment. And that's too much for some people, and it's not a small number of people. A lot of people do not want to hold a controller and press buttons and move a character around PC. So, like, from their perspective, you're playing games pressing buttons, and they're looking at that saying, that's too much, I don't want to do that, I want to relax. And now it's the equivalent thing. What I'm doing, I fully acknowledge, is way, especially with the treadmill, is way too much effort for most people. But it's like there's an effort to reward dynamic at play, where if you are willing to put that effort in, it is so rewarding. And for me, I'm willing to put that effort in, and I crave the latest and greatest things. I love it when I'm in there. I was playing Skyrim. I can't remember if it was in the week just gone or the one before. I was streaming it, so anyone that was here watching will know that I was just running around like, oh, this is amazing. This is the best thing. I'm having the best time. Everything's incredible. It's amazing. And I've had VR for like 5 years now, and it still does that to me. Like, so I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to strap into the treadmill, and if new things come out that let me track my legs better, I'm going to get them. And if I have to wear a full bodysuit, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to keep chasing it because it's my favorite. I love doing that. PlayStation VR headset is fine. Sauron Grant, you'll change your mind when you try something newer. Something that lets you turn around, you'll change your mind. Speaking of turning around, Sean T, you asked about sickness, or you mentioned that you got sick with the Quest 2. So I'm very prone to motion sickness, including in virtual reality. I got better at it, but never to the point that I can do whatever I want. Certain movements are far worse than others. So you'll get used to I surely have an awesome spouse. I say that loudly because I think she's in the next room. She might be in a different house. I don't know. But if she's next door, then that might be an appreciated loud volume moment. So what I find in virtual reality is, and this is a problem, a lot of people play their console games. They get used to playing Halo or whatever, and they're strafing around and they're turning and all of these things. You put on a VR headset and you have controllers, and there's a familiarity about the controllers because they've got analog sticks. So people immediately pick up these controllers, play a game, and expect to be able to move like they do in Halo. But the very worst thing that you can do in VR, and Sarah and Grant, this is the reason that PSVR is bad, is if you use the right stick to turn, I instantly can't do it. Like, it makes me feel so sick turning with a stick, as opposed to just turning around and looking. You can turn around and look, that doesn't hurt in the slightest. But with a stick, instant vomit. Left stick, strafing is pretty close to just as bad. Can't strafe for very long at all, it's horrible. Walking forwards in a straight line though, that's quite comfortable. So if you're playing a game and you're not used to VR, the absolute best first experiences are ones that don't involve moving with sticks at all, because it is always going to be a bit weird. But if you are in one that wants you to move around, you can use the teleport options that most have, but if you need to walk, just walk forwards and use your body for every other motion. Like, turn your head. If you want to look left, turn and look left. If you want to look behind you, turn around. And this is the problem the PlayStation VR had, is because the solo camera that it used, this wasn't an option. You could not turn around. You had to use the sticks, which is why it was a vomit box. So if you get another chance to try it, just be wary of left and right. Left and right are evil. Strafing and turning is evil. Up and down stairs is evil. And it might sound silly, like I'm not exactly selling VR as a brilliant experience by saying how all of these things will just make you sick, but it is brilliant. I'm realizing what makes you sick is a big improvement. Lots of the research into it, and there is a lot of research going into curing motion sickness, but this is part of the conversation I was having with ACG. You mentioned that haptics on the head and airflow on the head. Airflow is a big one that I already have noticed and used myself, but haptics is supposed to make a big difference as well. So if you're wondering why the PlayStation VR 2 buzzes your head, that might actually be it. Have I ever let her have a go on it? She doesn't want to. I can't remember if she's ever tried anything on it. My children have tried some VR, and her best friend has, but I can't remember if she has. But she is a glasses wearer, and the headsets that I have aren't so well suited. I don't think she'd want to try my current one. The Quest Pro's too expensive. It's too scary to try. What else have we got? Let's try and find that happy medium that people will go out of their way to try. Yes. Yeah. Kids are surely too small. Kids, wow, there's a whole... They're not too small to wear it. And this was a long time ago that they tried it, when they were a lot smaller than they are now. Femzy, welcome. You've come just in time for some Jet Set Radio styled music from whatever game this is. The kids were very small when they tried it, so this was probably when I got it, like 5 years ago. And no, I'm not on top chat, I'm on live chat right from the start. It's just difficult. I'm trying my best to keep it going. Yes, Aaron Grant, that's another problem. You can't mod your Skyrim. On the PC Skyrim, I've changed so much. On my Skyrim, I can grab NPCs by the throat and slam them around and throw cheese at them and talk to them. It's wonderful. Yes, wait for the PlayStation VR 2 if you can get a hold of that. If you have a PlayStation 5, then it's the entry point. VR contacts, you can get lenses that go into the headset would be the way to do it. I grate on lots of things, but yeah, grate like cheese, everyone loves it. My oldest lad was small when he tried it. He's 14 now, so he must have been about 9 when he tried it. And he only did a little underwater experience where you don't move around at all. It just like sticks you on the deck of a ship and some fish swim by and a whale comes up. And I told him, Lewis, You can't move. Don't go exploring. Just stand here and look around. And he put on this VR headset, turned around, saw that there was a boat, and just ran into the table. Just wanted to go and explore the boat, and off he went. I have... has anyone who wears glasses tried it? Over the course of the last 5 years or so, I've had maybe 6 headsets. So when I first got VR like 5 years ago, I was more sharey. And I let people try it more. Lots of people tried it. It was the Rift CV1, so the first Oculus Rift. Got shared and tried by many people. But the headsets that I've had since, not so much. Because they're mine and I don't share. Which isn't strictly true. They could try the Quest 2 if they want. Type in while playing Halo. I'll take the cheese grating though, that's fine. I don't feel so awkward about that. I don't take compliments well, but cheese grate, yes. What else is going on? I don't know. Do I think that AR will overtake or replace VR? My hope, Sean, is that they converge. I don't want AR to replace VR for sure. Like VR is, for me, the more appealing technology. Being able to visit a world entirely is more interesting than bringing bits and pieces into the real world. And there will be exceptions, I'm sure. There will be some really good like AR projects, particularly social things. That will be great. But the fact that AR is it's less closed off, it is more of a social experience potentially. I think it might explode before VR does. But I'm relying on them converging. So Apple is why I say that I think AR might explode first. Apple's mixed reality headset, or whatever they're calling it, looks to be more focused on AR rather than VR. And Apple have cult-like customers that will buy into whatever they say. So I think there's a fair chance that AR will take off before VR does, but the future is definitely that they'll converge. You'll have headsets that can show the real world, but can also block it off and put you wherever you need to be. Are we close to full dive VR? No, we are not close to full dive VR. When it's available, when they say, hey, this might work, would you like this chip implanted into the base of your brain? I will be the first to volunteer. I'll do the surgery myself. I'll be like, yeah, just give it here, give me a spoon, and 10 minutes, I'll sort it out. And I will let you know how good it is. I will review Full Dive VR once I have installed it in my brain. Tim the Sorcerer, thank you for stopping by and chatting with us. There is not much show left, so... Whoa, it's later than I thought, actually. But yeah, always appreciate that. Make sure you do hit that like button. I need the like button. We're back to the test. Oh no, not technical difficulties. Who's having technical difficulties? No, we're all good. You're all into technical difficulties in my brain. No, that's my default. Leave me be. Oh look, it's fracked on the TV behind me. Cannot get left and right to the background correct. Fracked was an interesting game. Very interesting cover system. Very intuitive, surprisingly so. You use your hands for motion in a way that just works. So if you walk up to like a Gears of War style wall and you need cover, you can grab it, and once you've got a hold of the wall, you could essentially move yourself. And it might sound silly, but it just works. So you hold a wall, and when you want to peer out, you just pull with your hand. And your character is essentially using like a climbing mechanic. It just anchors by the hand and you can move around. But it works really well for gunplay, and I hope that all of the VR games do it. Is Quest 2 or 3 the way to go? Not buying PlayStation 5 as you've never used the PlayStation 4 much. That is a very difficult question to answer. So, I mean, it's obviously all about timing. The Quest 3 is probably, at the earliest, the tail end of the year, I think. So you're talking at least 6 to 12 months for Quest 3 to become a thing. And Quest 3 will probably be a significant step up from the Quest 2. But it's timing. Timing. Quest 2 is a good headset. Quest 3 we don't know a whole lot about. What areas it's improving, what it's taking from the Quest Pro and what it's not. And I would say you could gamble on the Quest Pro controllers working with it. So if you were to buy a Quest 2 with the Pro controllers, then the upgrade might not be too painful when it comes. But It's hard to answer. All I can say is that today the Quest 2 is a good entry point into VR. Quest 3 is obviously going to be better when it comes out. If I spoon the chip in, my nerd. You're not going to PlayStation 5 as you've never used the PlayStation 4 much. That's fair. That's fair. I'm not here to sell you things. I'm not telling you need a PlayStation 5, but my VR enthusiasm is just trying to help with any decision that you are making, because VR is the best and I love it, and I hope you love it too when you get there. Or I hope you can at least put up with my enthusiasm and not get upset by it. That's a fair compromise. Your brain, yes, contagious technical difficulties. You might just buy a PlayStation 5 so you can get a visual and FPS bump for Ghost of Tsushima. You're a big Ghost of Tsushima fan, are you? It's on the list of games I haven't finished. On the list of games that were too much for me. I played it a lot. I played it enough for a reasonable game to be finished. I was like 800 hours into Ghost of Tsushima. And then it said, Chapter 2. And I died on the spot and haven't played it since. Chapter 2? I've been playing this forever. Forever. So maybe I'll go back to it one day. I will say, one of the nicest upgrades from the PlayStation 4, rather than just resolution and frame rate, is the audio. So PlayStation 4 was not particularly... Like, if you're a headphone user in particular, PlayStation 4 wasn't very good for headphones, and the PlayStation 5 is very good for headphones. Does your thing say you're typing in the question box or in the normal comments? Oh, I see. There's the comments going up in there in the questions. So how does this show up? Do you get like a second comment box for people to enter questions? Either way, I like this. I like, holy crap, how did I not discover this sooner? I'm literally doing a show called Q&A, so just like having conversations and taking questions, and YouTube takes questions directly and presents them in a nice, easy format. So yes, expect that to be coming back, so long as Isla's willing to organise it for me, because I'm way lazy. You need to refresh after entering a question. Well, if there are problems with it, then shout about them and we'll figure it out. And by figure it out, I don't necessarily mean fix it. I mean burn the world. What else was there? We didn't talk about next year yet. Tell me about next year. Well, we're going to do this brief because this has run longer than I expected. And we've looped back to the beginning of the OST, apparently. Which means we've had some wonderful tracks along the way. So, let's start with the obvious. Things that I'm looking forward to next year. And I'm going to miss some because I didn't put any forethought on planning into this. But things that I'm looking forward to most. One, nice and obvious. PlayStation VR 2. Massively looking forward to that. And several of the games for it. So I want to play the Horizon one. I don't think it'll be a long-lasting game, but I want to play it. I want to play Resident Evil 8-age. I want to play Walking Dead Saints and Sinners 2. And I want to play Firewall Ultra. That's my PlayStation VR 2 2023 wish list. And not literally 800 out. So God Emperor, Sofa King, when I don't have a number available, I just pull one out of thin air and it's nonsense. But I played it quite a lot. So 800 hours, probably not, but quite a lot of hours. Sean, you're very welcome. I'm here for sharing any info and stories and stuff. Something is booked. I'm assuming that's just the questions feature and everything else is smooth and perfect. This is just a test to check. Cool. There's technical difficulties that I can't see, so they're not hurting my feelings. Next year you want to do more video editing. Cool, me too. I'll see how long that enthusiasm lasts. I'm giving it until Tuesday, but my plan is... Oh, you got the emoji thing. I get that all the time. So this isn't a this channel thing. This is a YouTube thing. I get it. I always use YouTube on my desktop. And every now and again I type in YouTube, and if I finish the sentence with an emoji, the rest of the sentence disappears. So if you see me on Go Live, for example, and it happens quite frequently, or if you see me on any other show that I guest on, I just put a stupid smiley face. There was a whole sentence before it, maybe a paragraph, maybe a story, and I just get an inane stupid emoji on its own, and oh, it's upsetting, especially when it's like a smiley face, because the smiley face looks so dumb if it's the only thing you put. Why is there an inane grin? So yes, that's a YouTube problem. No, what? That doesn't hurt. What else? There was something else. So PlayStation VR 2, that's very high on my list. Starfield has to be on the list, right? Everyone's looking forward to Starfield. You're all looking forward to Starfield. I'm never going to stop saying that I want it in virtual reality, because Skyrim and Fallout are available in virtual reality, and Starfield should be available in virtual reality. And if Microsoft hadn't bought ZeniMax, then Starfield probably would have made its way to virtual reality. So I have every right to be bitter and twisted about that one if it doesn't, and I don't think that it will. But Starfield NOI, even if it's pancake mode, is a landmark game, so I'm looking forward to that. Spider-Man 2, absolutely, very much want to play Spider-Man 2. I like the Spider-Man games a lot. One and, like I say one, you know, Spider-Man, whatever PlayStation called it, and the Miles Morales one. Very, very good games. So Spider-Man 2 should be high on my list of things. Hades 2, Hades is beloved, and Hades 2 is more of it. So, like, it's an indie game, but there's such, the first Hades was just so spot on perfect in so many ways that I'm looking forward to the second one. That's a Magical Studio, and I will put the OST in the background and everyone will love it. God Emperor, Sofa King, Starfield, Dead Island 2 if it comes out, Atomic Heart, Lies of P, Final Fantasy, Stalker, Hellblade 2 and Hades 2. That's a hell of a list. That's a hell of a list. So off that list, Starfield, yes, I'm with you. Dead Island 2, I don't think it's going to be good. It has essence of Xbox 360. Like, the trailers are part impressive and part jank, and I think the jank will shine through, and it will be like shine through in the way that a turd's shiny. I hope that I'm wrong, but I don't think Dead Island 2 is going to be good. Atomic Heart is not going to be as good as the trailers, because the trailers are too good. I'm looking forward to Atomic Heart, but I think it's going to lose a little bit of sheen from the trailers when it becomes a real thing. But it does look, it looks so cool. So looking forward to that one. Lies of P looks like another one that, when I was talking about God of War earlier and I said it walks the line between Souls and Slash, Lies of P looks faster than a Souls game. It's very much likened to Bloodborne for its art style and all the rest of it, but it looks faster. And obviously it's a Game Pass game, like Atomic Heart, like Stalker, like Starfield. So Lies of P I will definitely play, and I hope it's really good. Final Fantasy, I was so unsure of that game because all of the trailers looked terrible until the one at the Game Awards that looked really good. So I still don't trust Square Enix to handle the Final Fantasy property whatsoever. But I'm optimistic that Final Fantasy 16 has something, it has some quality about it. And if it doesn't, like, Final Fantasy games always have a brilliant soundtrack, so if nothing else, I'll get another background track. But that Game Awards trailer was good. It's obviously more of an action game rather than the turn-based stuff and all the rest of it. And I've spoken about Final Fantasy 7 and the remake quite a few times, and 15, and generally the Final Fantasy series is like one that means quite a lot to me. It means quite a lot in terms of it's been a part of my gaming life pretty much forever, or it's the game that got me my first PlayStation at the very least. And I don't trust Square Enix. If Final Fantasy 16 doesn't work out well though, I'll just go back and play 12 because I actually never played that one. And I've been meaning to ever since it came out. I played it for like 10 minutes and it was so different to Final Fantasy that I put it down. Always intended to pick it up again and never did. Octopath 2 on PC, PlayStation, Switch, Atari, Spectrum, Commodore, Stadia, and Luna. All the platforms you could possibly hope to play an Octopath game on, apart from the first one that's also on Xbox. yeah, strange one. Octopath 2, I hope they've learned from the mistake that upset me so badly with the ending of Octopath 1, but I'm definitely going to play Octopath 2 as well. After Triangle Strategy and whatever else, there's some other ones. Yeah, not Xbox. Octopath 1 did pretty well for itself on Game Pass. Octopath 2 is not even getting an Xbox release. Rude. Decision made by the same people that structured the ending of the first game. The finals looks amazing, yes. Nightingale, I can't remember what that one is. Arc 2, BitCloud Gaming, welcome. That's a name I didn't expect to see around here. How you doing, sir? We're just talking about, and we're wrapping up very soon because this has been going for 2 hours now and my voice is going, but we're just talking about the things that are most exciting next year, and people have listed a lot of games there. Zelda, God Emperor Sofa King. Zelda can be played right after Nintendo give me a proper discount on Breath of the Wild. I have a stubborn standoff with Nintendo. I will play Breath of the Wild when Nintendo put a proper discount on it. So maybe never. It's not happened so far, which takes some of the wind out of Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom, whatever they want to call it. But yes, I'm sure Nintendo, like this year, they'll have some banging games on their terrible little bit of hardware. And I will look over the fence and go, oh, I want to play that. Maybe I'm going to sort out my Nintendo emulation in the near future. You're going to buy and emulate on your Steam Deck. I might buy and emulate on my Beastie PC and see what I can do. Have you done this one yet? Breath of the Wild. I'd be very surprised if you haven't, because that game has been spoken about over several years, and you are yourself. You have not changed. So yes, you've probably already done that one. You're on an iPad. You need to ask a question. You need to go back to the keyboard for chat. Sauron Grant, if you can't use the Q&A thing, you are very welcome to just type away in chat. It's perfect. It is all good. What else have I missed? Diablo 4. Possibly the last one that I'm going to be able to conjure up in memory. I really want Diablo 4 to be good. I'm not confident that it will be. I'm not confident in Blizzard whatsoever. Just Diablo. And what I've seen of it is encouraging. So, June, Diablo 4. That's a lot of games. If nothing else, if Diablo's trash, Tony, that's outrageous. Where have you been, sir? Can't come in here talking your nonsense. Next thing you'll say that VR isn't the best way to play games. Or something ridiculous like that. You'll probably end up doing it again next time. Sauron Grant, it's fine. It's fine. Type whatever you want, wherever you want, and we'll do our best to catch it and read it and talk about it. The rules are not strict. And yeah, Diablo, like, I really like Diablo 3, and I don't trust Blizzard. I don't trust their service plan for it. So I hope that it turns out that they treat it as sacred, like they should, and release a good, wholesome game that I can play for years and years. VR is the best way, getting yourself a 5090 T1000. T1000 is like an actual Terminator, Tony. I don't recommend it, because you will get mushed. So, was there anything else? Last Chance Saloon. Big things next year, previous year, wild curveball. You're leaving the Destiny 2 cult, so you have time to play more games. Sometimes I look across at the big games that want to absorb your time. It's not Destiny for me so much, but I look across at World of Warcraft, and I remember the days where I played that a lot, and how much money it saved on not buying every other game that came up and not really following the marketing cycle for a bit. Just sitting there and playing something and like extracting the most from it. And then I think, fuck, that was a terrible idea. It's like, no, there's just so much that I want to play. I can't be doing it. Unless there's a really good VR one, and then maybe I can be doing it. Maybe I can like sink my life into a particular really good multiplayer virtual reality games. MMORPGs stand as like my very favorite genre of game that I never play. Absolute favorite genre of game that's just been decimated by greedy daily quest manipulative bullshit practices. If someone did one that was like wholesome and pure, that had everything in the game with no store, no consumable experience potions, no daily quests, no log-on rewards, then there's a chance that I would jump back in and just stop playing everything else. But I don't think such a game will exist again, unfortunately. You have over 10,000 hours in Destiny 2. That, and you're not doing what I do, are you? You're not like picking a number from thin air and just making it up. You've actually got 10,000 hours in Destiny 2. Not like my 800 Tsushima hours. You even have the alien gene on the left. What? The alien gene on the left. What are you talking about, Tony? So, shall we wrap up? Shall we finish up there? Oh, Tony, yes, this is High on Life's living room. It's a great game that I'm going to play in virtual reality and have a wonderful time. The OST, nobody said it out loud in as many words, and I'm going to leave it that way. So anybody watching after the fact, if you want to drop the OST into the comments, then there's an opportunity. You can do that. If you are... Yes, Tony, it's a regular lamp. You must really struggle in the real world. But it is a Sega OST, yes. I said you could say it. Isla, you've already got the point, so I know that you know what it is. So don't take away the fun. Isla knows what it is. Some of you are very close to it, and some of you have been here and heard the conversations about it, so it won't be a big stretch to narrow it down and figure out what it is from there. But yeah, if you are watching now, if you're here and you've enjoyed any part of this show, even if it's like the technical difficulties in the middle, hit the like button to show how much you love it. And if you didn't manage to catch it live, but you've got any questions either about the things that we've spoken about or things that we didn't speak about, throw them in as well, because I will go and read it. If you think that I have a horrible robot voice and I should stop talking, leave that comment up your own arse, because I'm easily offended. It upsets me. Don't say these things to me. Everybody else though, thank you so much for coming along, having another chat. It's been smooth and easy with no news cycle to dominate the topics, but just things to talk about anyway, because that's games, right? We all love them. There's so much to talk about. So I'll be back next week to do it some more. There is a go live this Saturday. Not sure who's on it. It is New Year's Eve, so if plans change, it's Gaz's fault. Last thing that I heard, there is a go live coming this Saturday. And that's the end. How do I normally finish the show? What do I say? Do I have like a catchphrase or a one-liner or a good closing statement? I don't really, do I? I work on that. But